What's going on, YouTube? This is Dante with Sports Numbers and Culture, and here from all my Cowboys fans, here from all my NFL fans. I know obviously the Super Bowl has ended a few weeks ago, and you might be, desperate and yearning for a little bit of football, but the NFL is a yearly calendar, and they got the perfect remedy for you. But before we get into that, I just want to thank all the supporters, everybody that has liked, shared, subscribed. Everything. It means so much to me, from the videos to the shorts. I appreciate you helping me to grow the channel as we're here to talk about sports. The mission statement, talk about sports in a meaningful way, the analytics and how it ties in, the eye test and how it ties in to everything, and just to keep that going. Obviously, I know for my Hip Hop Live, for the culture part of the channel, of course, the J. Cole, I've been listening to it, digesting it. Don't want to just rush a review, loving it. I know you guys are probably, the millions of people in queue that were trying to get those tickets to the World Tour, to the Fall Off Tour, but I do plan on doing something about that at some point. Right now, hot off the presses, as you watch this on a Sunday, as a Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, whatever part of the time of the day you're watching this with me, I did get the news yesterday about Javonte Williams signing a new contract, 3 years, $24 million, basically $8 million per, $16 million guaranteed. Quality money for Javonte Williams. And so, what I want to say to that is this: he was a player that came in, made $3 million last year, was looked at as just like one of those signings where he's like, hey, he's a placeholder. You bring him in, you bring a Miles Sanders in, and you're thinking, hey, they're gonna come in, give me some carries, veteran players, and you're expecting guys like a Jaden Blue and a Phil Maffa to kind of get some touches. Maybe even trade for a running back. That was like the popular take. So even as far as the trade deadline with Javonte Williams had already taken off. But as you saw what happened, Miles Sanders, got hurt for the season. Jaden Blue never established himself and could barely get on the field. And Javonte Williams had a 1,200-yard season and really a breakout season. And a guy that is in his prime, signing this type of deal is really important. But what I really want to say is, as far as everything that's going on, the upcoming NFL Combine that's coming up, that's going to be Monday, February 23rd until March 2nd. That's coming up, and it's going to be so many big things about basically a large job interview for players and how they're going to set things up for their lives and how they're going to, be seen, how they're going to raise their stock, guys that are going to work out and not. But also it's seen as this is where players and agents meet. But what I really want to focus on here is this: as Cowboys fans, especially what we've been through in these, last year or so, we've heard for the longest time, and we've seen it, that the Cowboys drag their feet. I mean, they drag their feet as when it comes to contracts, free agency. They wait, they just wait, they make us wait. But Jerry Jones has been stated as saying that, hey, things are going to be different, a sense of urgency. And of course, myself, and you can't blame us, rolled our eyes. From after we went through the saga last spring and summer with Micah Parsons, and then an eventual trading of Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers, you have every right to be skeptical of what you're seeing. But what we're seeing right now is we have just barely gotten to the point of where you can give the franchise tag to a George Pickens. We've just entered that window, but what we've already gotten is some of the dominoes that are going to come into place to sign a George Pickens. Those things are coming into place when you sign a Javonte Williams, and you're proactive, you get that done. It's a nice deal. It's a good deal from him, a pay raise, and a player that was pivotal to your team as far as, punishing in the running game, getting good productive yards, like plays that he made. He's made several runs at the end of halves to help break it up, break the game open, because he made a big play, gets a run to get the team down the field, and then you throw the ball in the end zone. Or give it to him for a short yardage carry for the end zone. Those type of plays make an impact where you're just, you could kill the clock. You could drive it down for a Brandon Aubrey long field goal. But him being able to make those impact plays, that was a big part of the Cowboys offense. But having a guy that's that physical in the run game, but also with the blocking. So you got the type of attitude he has, professionalism, guy that's bounced back from multiple knee injuries and just had a really tough time in the league. With coming into the league showing so much promise. Couldn't be happier for Javonte Williams. Could not be happier for him. Like the move. And now, obviously, I can hear the skepticism. I can hear that in the comments. Feel free to comment and give me your thoughts on the move. But that's too much invested in offense. Dak with the big contract, CeeDee Lamb with the big contract, $8 million, but $8 million for him. When you've seen, as we talked about in previous videos, the salary cap going up and rising, that's not going to be that big of a problem. Also, when you have players on long-term deals, you can play with the cap, you can massage it, you can manipulate it. That's the problem that you have when you don't do it, or you franchise tag a player. There's nothing that you can move. Everything is just, that money is just there for what the player will make. Javonte Williams doesn't have that problem right now. There's, so kudos to the Cowboys. Not gonna, fanboy out and say, hey, things are changing. Nope, I'm not going there. I need to see more. But shout out to Patrick No C Walker. Did see him mention this on Twitter, and if he's a great Cowboy follower, if you don't follow him already, which I'm probably sure you do, But he mentioned, he had a meme that he posted, and he said, "Hey George," and it was Goldberg saying, "You're next." And it was just awesome seeing that, because it's like, hey, that guy is tapped in as any Cowboy content creator, as any, Cowboy blogger, media member. He, whatever, however you want to call it, he's a very important voice. And him saying that just means like, hey, there could be some spice to it. Because as big as it is, as I mentioned earlier, about a big job interview, an opportunity for the players, this is a place where in Indianapolis, the agents meet, and the team set their draft board from how players perform, and they also set their free agent board. They know what's realistic. They're able to, well, you can't have I hate the legal tampering period, which comes in March. I believe March 10th, I believe, is when the legal tampering period, or what I call it, the negotiation period. I think that sounds a lot better. And so when you have, what you have right now is, players are going to be able to speak through their agents, give the dollar figures of where things are, and then teams can say, hey, we need to focus on this in the draft, or we need to pivot to these free agents so that we can make some moves and figure out what we're going to do. So I'm loving it for the Cowboys' perspective of saying, hey, we got Javonte Williams taken care of. Our next big domino to do is, let's figure out George Pickens. And then if you can't figure the deal out, can't complain if you can't blame if you don't. You do have David Mulugeta, one of the best agents in the game. And so what you can do is, all right, we're going to franchise tag you as a placeholder, but we can still go and handle up our other free agent business. And then if you're still able to negotiate, maybe you strike a deal. Because I'm not going to live in la-la land. You can, but I'm not going to live in la-la land and think, oh, we're just going to definitely guarantee to get this deal done. Hell no, I'm not thinking that. What could very well happen, you keep a placeholder, and then you make your other moves, and hey, you flip the switches that are built into the contracts for the CeeDee Lambs, Dak Prescotts, and other players on the roster. You flip those deals, the Osa, maybe you flip his deal, maybe you not want to because he didn't play great this year. But you get those things figured out, and then you go chase a free agent. Maybe you go get a Trey Henderson at the edge position. Maybe you're available to go get a Mika Fitzpatrick, because this all ties into things like what we got last week, where we got the, really quality press conference. Wasn't the wildest of the wow, but the information we got from Christian Parker and we got from Brian Schottenheimer, what we're going to be looking at. You're going to have a base 3-4 defense, so you're going to have to get some things. You let go of Logan Wilson, which thank God they didn't bring him back. Now that's moving different. A guy that was under contract for a reasonable price, and the Cowboys love to keep on and hold on to players for too long. For them to let him go, it's like, hey, this wasn't working for us. Love that. Need to see more of it, and need to see it more consistently before I give too much praise. But I will say, knowing that you need some linebackers, knowing that, you need some guys that fit a 3-4, and being able to go after those type of players, but also, he did mention you're going to play with some 4-3 sensibilities and spacing. So I really love that. But the biggest takeaway, I will say, one of the biggest takeaways is what Christian Parker, who's, like I mentioned before on this channel, big on the secondary and development, what he mentioned about from the slot position, and how important it is that the slot is that, it's a corner, he can be a linebacker, a blitz, he's an edge when he's blitzing, all these important pivotal things. The Cowboys sound like they're going to be looking for a cornerback. They're going to be looking for somebody that can play in the nickel and be a standout player. Now, what I'll say is a player that can play in the nickel, has those, type of tremendous qualities and position flexibility. That's someone like a Caleb Downs. Yes, Caleb Downs. Maybe the Cowboys move up for him. I'm not sure. Hopefully he falls into your lap. But that's just another thing to keep an eye on this week as I'm going to keep my ears to the ground. Obviously, if there's breaking news, definitely going to do a video about it like I'm doing this one now. Obviously, it'll be a little bit different during the week because it can be so much information. But I'm looking forward to coming out and giving those videos. If you guys feel free to let me know in the comments what you think, what you want me to cover, what you want my opinion on, because I'm very interested to see how things go with free agency because this is pivotal. And if the Cowboys are going to do anything different about changing how you have an offense that can be so explosive, so dangerous, and playoff worthy, division, winning worthy, and maybe make some noise in the playoffs worthy, you have to have a defense to match that. And we all know the defense was abysmal, so we don't want to keep beating that dead horse. But I'm really interested to see what kind of moves they make, what type of draft picks they're looking at. And, the age-old question, the Max Crosby, that's going to be out there, which I'm kind of off the Max Crosby trade because if you want multiple first-round picks, you want a Micah-type trade, Cowboys can't keep going building top-heavy. I've said it, I love Max Crosby, but if I can bring back George Pickens and bring in, use my 2 draft picks, which I would say one of the draft picks does need to be moved back to get a little bit more depth. There's no second or third round picks, so you'd be picking in at 12 and 20, and then you're not picking again until the 4th round. So it's just something to look at. I'm very interested in. Kudos again to the Cowboys for bringing back Javonte Williams. Congratulations to him for all he's overcome, and congratulations to him and his family. Hope all is well. But again, as far as it comes to the Cowboys, I'm going to be here dropping the news for you whenever it comes across. Hopefully we get some shakings. Hopefully that big Jerry Jones bust that he has where he meets with players, agents, media types, hopefully some things are shaking there. And we kind of can read the tea leaves similar to what happened last year when the Oso Odighizuwa contract information was leaking out. But again, like, share, subscribe. Appreciate you guys coming along the journey with me as we continue to grow the channel. Good positive sports talk as far as talking to it in a good manner and not just coming out with the clickbaity stuff, not just coming out with the, just asinine takes and things people have. But man, I appreciate you guys so much. But this is Dante with Sports Numbers and Culture.